So, last we saw our boys, they were figuring things out in Enosh. We met Kian's old gang, the Wandering Winds, now headed by a man named Lysandriel, or Lizzie. We also met Winnie, a local halfling druid with a desire to help. Seems the Winds have taken to her too, based on her new tattoo. They met up again with Mela, who it seems has been doing her best with her pared-down bike to find out what dangers lurk out there, waiting to rush in. She found a safe place, strange enough, so you'll be in charge of clearing the path for the Enosh residents who can't go off to Dawning this morning. Henry went off to Maggie to make an apology, and she accepted. She's a forgiving sort. She asked for his help in Dawning, and he agreed. So, the boys are parted again, but this time it's not such a fear-filled thing as when we nearly lost Kian. Henry and Magdala Brenna have their own work to do, shuttling the first lucky 30 citizens of Enosh up to the Phoenix Island. Henry just had to tell the remaining peoples of Enosh that some gotta go and some gotta stay. It's the sort of thing that can go down nice and smooth, or it can catch and choke. It's a roll of the dice. Luckily, Henry Goodlove's a persuasive fellow. Now, I may not have the charm of a Goodlove, but you'll have to hear it from me instead. And, warning, this is gonna be the most words you ever hear from me at once. He's persuasive and he's verbose. Here's what he says. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for gathering here at such a difficult time. I am Henry Tempest Goodlove, a representative of Goodlove and Goodlove Railline. As I'm certain you've all seen, we have recently brought a train to offer assistance in this time of crisis. However, while I would far prefer to have you all board now and carry you to the next island, our destination of Dawning is quite strict in how it accepts new residents, and it will only allow us to bring in 30 people at this time. As you've been made aware, those of you not boarding the train will be taken through a portion of the ocean to a safer location, and the trip may not be best suited for all of you. Of course, no one knows the people of your community better than you do, and instead of imposing my authority to determine who should and should not be of the 30 to board, I am extending the decision to all of you. Now, if you prefer not to decide, then I am more than willing to make that choice for you, and I will if it comes to that. But first, I'd like to offer you an hour to make your selection before I will be forced to step in to impart by means of a specifically selected criteria. The gathered peoples of Enosh are damn tired of all the waiting around, but they're hardy folk and resilient, and they're all close to each other, especially now they've been gathered in these few safe houses. They know who can stay and who needs to go, and it is reassuring to see Mr. Goodlove himself, though a young one, helping them out. So they find the oldest and the youngest, and those in need of care. The train's loaded up by noon. Our friends, Henry and Maggie, follow the ley line out of the dangers of Enosh, just as Kian, Ox, and Virgil find their way deeper into the waters of the oceans. Also, by some miracle of faith, Kian found Lachlan through the eyes of Marigold, just to say goodbye. What did you do, Lionos, after you said goodbye?
He leaves, summons her back, sits in the alleyway, holding her for a bit. He finds a quiet place, probably goes straight back to the carriage, and sits in the common room and cries, I think.
Do you get a full rest?
No.
Alright, welcome morning of exhaustion.
Ox, you've been replaced.
God.
Well, if you also want to elect to stay up
No,
that
don't
night, go ahead.
Don't
but
do it.
Ox gets his usual amount of sleep.
Okay.
You all sleep that night in the back of Case's bar, enclosed by the breaths, sighs, and snores of the sleeping winds. The next day, Henry and Maggie speak to the citizens of Enosh. You hear in the morning that he does a mighty fine job convincing them all to stay calm and listen up, and they leave by the afternoon. So now it's up to you.
The next morning, you are expected to go out into the oceans with the help of Winnie, especially with Henry gone, and check out what it is that Mela saw on her bike while she was surveying the area. Winnie comes in with some breakfast for everyone, and she very quietly passes it out in case anyone is still asleep. Leaves a tray at the shelf by the door. I think Winnie actually goes over to Kian and specifically hands you a plate that is full of pastries and some sunny side up eggs and a mug of something that smells like a spiced tea of sort. She looks a little worried for you as she hands it over. Are you nervous?
No, it'll be fine.
Didn't sleep very well last night?
Didn't really feel like it. Just some things going on.
Well, she looks around at the room. Yeah, there are. I'm nervous too, a little bit, but don't tell anyone I said that.
We'll smile. Alright, I'll go wake everybody up.
She gives you a thumbs up.
You say you'll go wake us up, but I feel like we're already awake.
Probably.
Ox is definitely awake.
Yeah.
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 Are we sleeping in our own room?
You're sleeping
With
in the
wind?
back room of the bar.
Yeah.
With the winds.
With the winds.
Yes.
It's cozy.
At this point, everyone is in various stages of the process of waking up.
He'll go over to Virgil and Ox and hold the bowl of pastries.
You find Virgil is already awake and sitting cross-legged, like deep in meditation. And if you'll allow it, DM, he is trying to summon that light to his blade.
Yeah. Roll a d20.
Just a straight roll.
Wisdom.
Wisdom check. I think there's a flick of the wrist to do it. That's an 11.
Wait, sorry. You can't roll in that dice tray unless you flick your wrist.
Well, you gotta be gay about it. 11.
11. You're pretty distracted. I think it's fair to say this morning the room is a bit stuffy and crowded full of strangers. You go through the motions, but you do not manage to contact that light in the same way that you've been able to in the past.
Okay.
He will see that Virgil's kind of busy and go straight to Ox then. And
You find Ox polishing his gun. It looks like he's just put it back together. At his side, you also see an incomplete gun that he's kind of been fiddling with and, taking apart, putting it back together this morning. But it's not in a usable condition yet.
we've got breakfast. Probably should head out of this room.
Yeah, to keep quiet and not disturb anybody.
I mean, I think they're all kinda awake, he'll whisper, but
As Kian says that, Nimble's head whips around and she raises a little clawed hand in a wave and grins.
still might have a bit more room and a nice place to sit if we go out to the bar. And he'll look over to Virgil. Has Virgil kind of...
Yeah, he's kind of given up.
Yeah.
He sheathes his sword and stands. Right?
I think we're maybe gonna head out right away.
Sooner rather than later is good.
But breakfast first. And he'll kind of grab his bag and head out. Place the bowl on the table or the counter of the bar and sit down.
Just to make, the bar is also very crowded
Yeah.
because it is where a good half of Enosh is staying. It is not a quiet, peaceful place to have your breakfast.
Should we step outside? It is a bit crowded.
If you want to.
I might prefer that.
Kin will nod. Does it feel like the oceans?
Yes.
Yeah. Does it feel like it's more dangerous to be outside than indoors?
Not yet here. And unlike what you're accustomed to... Once again.
Why did you look at me like that, May?
Because I'm worried. Our DM just rolled a dice and I'm worried.
It's fine. DMs roll dice all the time.
Our DM was speaking about danger.
This
Rolling
is-
a dice.
Roll the
This
dice.
is fine. You're worried? It's
It's fine.
whatever.
See?
I said it's fine.
So within the walls, it does feel like the ocean. But normally when you cross a border, it's a split-second change from feeling like you're in the oceans, that slightly suffocating feeling, to being able to breathe easily again as you cross over. Here, it's more gradual, and it's centralized around this area, the train station area. So the further out you go, the stronger the feeling gets. It's like
Like a slight
it's
feeling.
like you're on an island that's slowly getting flooded.
It's interesting because you see as we step outside into like the open air, Virgil does seem to breathe a little easier.
Ox brought along the pastries that Kian set down on the counter. He finds the most plain looking one and starts eating it.
Croissant.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Keen eats one of these, does he feel any better?
Yes, actually. You all get an extra 1d8 hit points.
Oh, okay. So is that like an
Like
extra
a
hit
hit
dice
die.
that you get to roll?
Yes.
Okay.
Just to paint a word picture.
Yes.
Keen definitely, I think he looked tired when he was talking to Winnie, but he is using Mask of Many Faces to hide those dark circles under his eyes.
To look bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Yeah.
Ugh. So are we about ready then?
I'm ready.
Do we need to worry about mounts? Winnie, do you have any means of travel?
You turn around to say that to Winnie, and you see Lizzie slamming the door behind him, and then he kind of winces as the door shuts too quickly, turns back to look at you all. Sorry, are you all about to leave? Or are you coming back? Are you going now?
I think we're trying to figure that out right now, but we're ready.
Was there something you needed before we go?
He shrugs, just wondering what the plan is. It would be nice if you kept us, I don't know, in the loop, instead of just running off.
We're discussing a plan right now.
The intention is to clear the way for the refugees to follow, and we will return, of course, to escort them there.
We weren't sure when we were leaving just yet, so I'm letting you know now.
He takes a few steps forward away from the door and then just waits 3 feet away from you all, arms crossed.
Is that all?
Yes?
Alright, let's go get Winnie.
Virgil looks like he's gonna say something, and
Keen will go through the door, brush past him, and go to grab Winnie.
Ox shoots Virgil a look before giving Lizzie a sort of sidelong glance beneath his hat.
Just looks back. He looks a little bit confused as you side-eye him. Gives you a nod.
okay. What exactly is the problem here? Because I'm not blind, there is something.
He shrugs again. Well, you see, it seems as though the wall was destroyed.
You
And
know what I'm talking about. What's your problem with Kian?
you're just about to leave now, aren't you?
Well, we have a few minutes.
Might take a little longer than that. What?
Is this going to be a problem?
No, it's not going to be a problem.
Insight check. It's a 5.
I'm also gonna roll insight. That's a nat 20.
He pauses before he answers. Like he is actually considering what Virgil is saying. Like actually kind of taking it seriously instead of dismissively, which you have seen him often do with Kian. And there's a slight nod of his head, like almost to himself. Like he's come to the conclusion that no, he's not going to let this get in the way of things. He seems determined to do his job well. Yeah, he seems
Well-
honest enough to you, Virgil.
Alright then. That's all I needed.
He nods. Gestures you forward. Winnie's waiting for you all. Very eager to get going. Okay, Kian, yeah, you head into the bar, go back to the back. Winnie is right where you left her, sitting by the door of the Wind's room. There's a few crumbs on her dress that she brushes off as you walk in and stands up. We going then?
Yeah, I think it's time.
Okay. She gives everyone a wave, and they all wave back. Everyone feels very friendly with Winnie, and she walks out the door and scuttles along beside you as you exit Case's bar.
We have 2 mounts amongst us. I don't know that Clementine can really carry more than one, though.
I can be a bird.
Never mind, it will not be an issue. You can just do that.
Yeah.
All right.
Kian looks over to Lizzie. Could we use one of the deer?
Sure. Just be careful.
We can go and get one of them on the way.
Like an Ashitaka, motherfucker? Like, when you say deer.
Gosh, you talk a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Its name is Yakul.
Hey, 1 second.
Sorry.
I need to look at... I didn't prepare this.
I'm very curious about what it is that you need to prepare that has to do with getting a deer.
I need a name.
Oh.
Don't just search deer names. I don't think it's going to get you what you want.
Whitetail! Fawn.
There's also a warrior cat name. I actually think there is a warrior cat named Whitetail. Canonically. Isn't there? And he's like kind of sad. They're all kind of sad. He might die tragically. Or is he one of Blue Star's children? I'm trying to.
Sorry. On track. Let's find the track.
Lavender.
No.
Lupin.
Magnolia.
Violet.
Lilac.
I do like my mommy.
Daisy. Daffodil.
Yeah, lilac. Jasmine. Tulip.
Asta.
Okay,
Alright, so Lizzie just said, like, yeah, you can go to the enough deer.
so... And Kian will set off towards the carriage, kind of expectantly looking behind.
Yeah, okay. We follow Kian.
If everybody's ready with all their stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Leads you all straight there. It's in a dark, dingy alleyway behind Case's bar. It stands out in its whimsy. You all see what looks to be a green caravan or carriage that's... It's a bit on the small side considering the amount of people travel within it. You can only imagine it to be a sort of clown car situation if you knew what cars were, because it does not feel like they should be able to fit inside.
Do clowns exist?
Of course clowns exist.
Kian's right there.
Lizzie appears to your high five.
Yes.
I'll give you 1 Lizzie friendship point.
Yes.
Anyway, Kian walks past a door and you look and see it's a beautiful dark polished wood and it's embellished with a ornate golden door knocker and a brass hand that resembles more hand than door handle. It's a dark green and some of the paneling looks like it's new and bright and some of it seems to be in need of repairs, flaking off. There are hooks all around the edge of the roof of the carriage that juts out a little bit, and there's a variety of tools and bags. You see a seat up front for whoever's driving the carriage, and there's a small patchwork awning above. And then you also see, very loosely attached, 4 deer that are just waiting there patiently. There's a few buckets beside them that have some feed in them, some water. Clearly someone has given them their breakfast already this morning. And they all turn around to give you a look as you approach.
Kian will go to one of them, hold out a hand, and then gently pat her nose, and he'll take like the lead, head towards the rest of the group. Here, he'll guide Clementine over to Winnie.
She reaches over and pats Clementine on the nose.
So, are you comfortable with riding?
Yeah. I'm sure. I don't know if I'm an expert rider, but are we going bareback? Do you have a saddle?
Clementine has a saddle, I think.
Okay.
Does Ox know how to ride?
Well,
Jesus Christ.
Yes, Ox does know how to ride a horse or a mount. He is a cowboy. He does have +6 animal handling.
Yeah.
So, I'll ride.
I mean, you could also share if you
No,
don't
what's
feel
your
comfortable.
goat's name?
Oh, this is Clementine.
All right, Clementine.
Yeah, all right, Aster.
we have to stop and get Orna. Do you mind sharing, Ox?
Well, that's what we've been doing so far. I don't mind more.
All right. Then we are ready.
You all head out into the, well, it would be into the oceans, but kind of feels like you've been sleeping in them all night anyways. How are you riding through the oceans?
Everybody would notice at this point that Marigold is with Kian, and he will be checking in through Marigold Vision every once in a while to kind of scope out the direction that they're going. Is it wooded?
Yes, it is wooded. It's not an incredibly thick wood. You walk through some patches of light as the trees open up.
Is it wooded enough that, like, Orna will have trouble getting
No,
through?
Orna won't have trouble here. The trees are far apart.
Look around.
Cool. Okay, I'm gonna do two things. I'm gonna have everyone roll just a group d20 roll. This is a table roll, basically. 8.
17.
That's a nat 20 again.
20.
Oxalis.
Yeah, you're really pulling us through.
I know. Keep doing it.
And also roll perception for Marigold.
An 8.
Great.
Is it... Because she has advantage on navigation survival checks, but it depends
It's not.
on...
Are you trying to navigate or are you trying to look out for danger?
Look out for danger.
Then.
Well, seeing as she's a pigeon, we all know. They're not the best at that.
I'm sorry, but you don't get that advantage this time.
Yeah.
But good keeping an eye out. Marigold flies up ahead, and you check in with her occasionally. And so far, a few hours in, she has nothing to report. You occasionally see things flitting in and out of the shadows of the woods ahead of you to your sides, but you never see them enough to know if it's something to fear or just the wilderness. So the first bit of the journey, the first third of the journey, goes by as smoothly as it can with everyone on edge. Winnie is the quietest that you've heard her since you've met her and is clinging very tightly to Clementine. I'll have you roll d20s again.
9.
9.
12.
15.
As you keep moving forward, Marigold lets out a very small coo and flits down kin to land on your shoulder and sends you an image of movement ahead. You can't make out what it is. There's some brush. It looks like blackberry bushes, very overgrown. They climb up the trees and across from one to another, creating a canopy of their own. Instead of investigating further, she flew down to stick at your side.
How far?
It looks like it's about a quarter mile away.
Marigold saw something ahead. I'm not sure if it is anything, but...
Should treat it as if it is. Virgil will dismount and just hold up a signal, like a hand signal, for Orna to stay. About where off was it?
quarter mile that way or so.
Okay, do we want to sneak up to it? This could be what we're looking for.
I don't think it's what we're looking for, but it could still be dangerous. Potentially.
I think, given that we are in the oceans, we assume it is dangerous.
Yeah, better to be safe than sorry.
Does Winnie still look nerve-wracked?
It's not like Winnie was shaking in her boots or anything like that. She seemed properly nervous for someone who's about to travel out into the oceans, but she looks pretty determined to fight if you tell her to. She hops off of Clementine.
Have you been out to the oceans before?
I mean, yes and no.
Okay, you stick close to us. Kian, could you have Marigold take a closer look?
Yeah, I'll have her do that now. Just give me a moment, and I think you can see he closes his eyes and kind of just disappears into her, and she flies away. And yeah, he'll have her search forward.
Okay. So you... Wait, sorry. Do you see... I always forget. You do see through her, right?
Yeah,
You are seeing through her now.
yeah.
Okay.
And he's always been able to, but now he can do it further.
Cool.
And talk through her.
So Marigold flies ahead and you watch the trees go by, grow slightly stunted, and all around you is the beginning of spring, but it's almost like going back in time into winter as you move forward, or as Marigold moves forward. The leaves start to shrivel and die, and the ground is covered in dead plant matter. And then you reach the bramble that Marigold showed you. Looks like blackberry bushes, and they're very thorny. And Marigold stops on a branch nearby and eyes them doubtfully. But you do see some rustling within, as if there's something inside the bramble. And she kind of sends you a question, like, do you want her to go in? Or to try to go in?
He'll take control and fly above
Above.
and see if he can see better, like if there's an opening from like the top anywhere, or if it's just completely covered.
They seem pretty thick. Every time you think you see an opening, you get a little closer and start to doubt if you could really get in there without snagging Marigold on a thorn. And throughout this search, you continue to see rustling here and there.
He'll have her retreat back just a tiny bit to just try to draw something out.
Marigold lands, flaps around a bit, like a sad injured pigeon,
Looking like a whole snack.
looking like a whole snack. And a deer steps out from the bramble. I love to say a deer steps up from the bramble and be greeted with the most like concerned faces. A deer.
A what?
A deer.
I'm sorry, a what?
A moose. You know what? Why not a moose? A moose steps out from the bramble and walks over to Marigold and leans down, and as it does so, you realize that it has an impossibly human face. It was almost like you couldn't tell from 10 feet away, and every step it takes closer, it looks more and more humanoid.
He has her fly up to a higher branch.
As she does so, you hear a large clack as it tries to chomp down on Marigold.
With its human mouth?
With its human mouth, yes.
Oh.
Roll a... What's the one? You know, when you get out of the way.
A dex save?
Yeah, roll
That one.
12.
It just barely gets a feather as Marigold flaps away and manages to get out of its reach. It looks up at her with blank eyes. You can't tell if it's frustrated or feels anything. Stares for a bit, turns back around, and disappears into the bramble again.
It's a fucked up little guy.
Yeah.
Kian tells her to come back, and he will startle back into his body.
You alright?
I don't know how dangerous it is, but there's a creature up ahead.
There are a lot of creatures around here.
Could you explain a bit more? What did it look
I'm
like?
trying to get there. Sorry, it's just a little unsettling.
Okay.
It looked like a moose, but it had a human face.
Is it funny looking or is it scary? Are you laughing because you're so freaked out that you don't know what else to do?
It's very unsettling, actually.
Yeah, so it's that one, probably.
Unsettling is a good word for it. Is it in our way? Do you think?
I don't know if we need to go by it, but how fast did it move?
It was walking. It didn't look like it was trying to go fast.
Yeah.
But it had an ambling pace to it.
I'd rather avoid that if we can.
Yeah, that would be good. Can we?
Joel,
Yes.
just to let you know, this sounds familiar to you.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah. Do I know, Daddy, if these things often move in herds?
In your experience, yes.
Okay. Ox, do you have the map? I just want to see if it will be in our way.
Yeah, and he'll go ahead and pull out the map and...
Keen, can you show roughly where it is?
I can try. He points ahead, but also it's a 5.
I think maybe Kian points ahead to where Marigold went and then points on the map somewhere that's just like completely in the opposite direction.
So do I know if this is in our way?
It looks like it is in the direction you were heading.
Mm.
You don't know how wide it is necessarily.
Well, these things do not often travel alone. So if we can find a safe route around for the people we will have to lead this way, that would be best.
Are they dangerous or just...
Winnie raises a hand.
Yes?
It's just, we are supposed to be kind of clearing the way so that people are in less danger when they do get over to where it's safe. I don't think we have to fight things if it really seems like they're going to kill us, but that is sort of our job.
Might be best to take care of this one now.
Do you know how many there were?
I just saw the one. It tried to eat Marigold.
That does not surprise me. Okay. Let's see.
At least they don't have hands.
That would be worse.
Exactly.
Do they have hands?
What if they, like, take their little hooves off to reveal little fingers or something? That's very unsettling.
Never seen them do that.
I read that in a picture book once.
Is there anything that... Can they do anything specific that we should look out for, or...
Besides taking off their hooves?
Well, can they do that?
No.
Okay, so then... I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about... Are they just... beasts? Or do they have... I don't know... They open their mouths and they've got rows and rows of sharp teeth. What is the situation?
Daddy dearest, what do I know about them?
Can they breathe fire?
They have human mouths.
Right. But in terms of... Yes, we've established this. In terms of fighting and killing them, I would know what they're capable of, right?
In your experience, they are very easily consumed by bloodlust.
Yes, but it is like fighting, say, a wolf and not a wolf who can cast fireball.
It's like fighting a wolf who hasn't eaten in 2 weeks and yet has the strength of a wolf that just ate yesterday.
Awesome.
And has the teeth of a human.
Yeah, it'll kill you slower. Well, we know where they are, and we can get the jump on them. That's ideal.
Alright, but you didn't really answer my question about...
They're just creatures.
Okay.
Do they keep in packs, or?
Often, yes. It is probably part of a herd. Let us hope it is not too numerous.
Well, if it has a human face, can it speak?
I don't think I have heard them speak words. The sounds they make are not pleasant, though.
Yeah.
Virgil just starts forward, like holding Orna's reins.
Winnie will step right beside Virgil. Looks back at the two of you.
Once we get within a couple 100 feet of where Kian indicates this was, I'll settle Orna's reins against like a branch of a tree and tie a loose knot, so if she had to run, she could. Alright, and he will start like to creep forward, and his hand goes to the hilt of his sword, and you see it ice over.
I'll let you all know a bit of a secret right now. I'm not really sure how well I can stealth at the moment.
What do you mean?
Just feel kind of out of it.
I can give you a little boost.
That would be great.
Winnie, sort of like a conductor would in front of an orchestra, waves her hands in the air and then just taps a finger to your arm and casts guidance.
So 1d4.
Yes, 1d4 to your stealth check.
An unnatural 20.
Unnatural 20. 17. So wait, 12,
17.
dirty 20,
Dirty 20.
17. You all step forward as quietly as you can. It's difficult here. Like I said, the leaves have mostly fallen to the ground in it's drier here than you have experienced closer to Enosh. They're a little bit crispy underneath you. But though there's an occasional twig snapping, Winnie steps on a branch and winces as it cracks beneath her. You get within 15 feet before you see a face appear, and it's followed by the body of a very large moose-like creature. It steps out and looks at you all blankly.
Do I see that it sees us?
Yes.
Virgil charges for it.
Then I guess we roll initiative. All right, Virgil lunges forward. Ox, your first initiative.
Well, Ox holds his action until Virgil makes a shot.
Ox, you hold back and watch as Virgil leaps into action, and at the same time that Virgil moves, the moose moves as well and runs forward with a clumsy yet impressive speed. It reaches its head forward and tries to bite you.
So you see Virgil raise an arm, and a shield of glistening ice separates them, and it just sort of glances off that.
It does not glance off of it. Its head just smashes into it, and then it steps back, seemingly uninjured and unfazed. As it does so, you see another creature appear behind it, and this one comes barreling out from the brambles and runs towards Virgil.
Oh, good.
It lunges for you, but it actually stumbles as it goes and just completely misses you. You actually just see its long neck sort of at your side before it draws back.
Oh, hello.
Kian, you almost don't notice another one has appeared until it is at your side. It lunges at you, and you just manage to step out of the way, and it actually falls to its knees on the ground in front of you and starts to clumsily get back up. It's your turn.
So he will hold out his palm, and golden light will envelop the moose in front of him, and he'll hex. Would it be an 11?
11 to hit?
Yeah.
That's gonna miss.
Yeah. He goes for his sword to slash forward and stumbles.
Their movements are also very unpredictable. They move fast, but also move like they should move slow.
Cool. Love that.
Winnie runs forward right behind Virgil. She's been basically just following at his side and catches up with him fairly easily. She pulls out from the apron around her waist what looks to be like a wooden carved spoon and holds it in front of her and casts Erupting Earth. So she holds out the spoon and then basically just jams it into the ground in front of her, stands there for a second, and then there's a crack and another crack, and the earth starts to churn forward beneath these two mooses and into the brambles in front of you. The brambles, maybe about 10 more feet in front of you, also start to shake and sort of sink into the ground a little bit. And both of the moose stumble, and wow, they both are not dexterous as discussed. You hear a cracking sound, like broken bones, as one of them goes down. Whoa, Winnie, fuck yeah, Winnie. 12.
Fuck yeah, Winnie.
One of them does not get back up again.
Oh, shit.
And
Like it's dead?
it's not getting up. Winnie looks surprised with herself, and another moose appears behind it, leaps over the body, and runs towards Ox between its friends.
Wait. It's within 5 feet of me and it's attacking Ox?
Yes.
Sentinel. So sorry. It still hits you. I'm gonna stop it.
It does not hit you, actually.
Well, neither do I.
Okay, it runs past Virgil. Virgil does not hit it, but it lunges towards you, Ox, and it overshoots, basically. You easily swerve out of the way. It still seems to be fumbling after the earth beneath it churned and turned over.
There's this comical effect as it lunges for Ox and misses, and Virgil lunges for it and it misses.
All of the movements in this fight have been almost comical. These are such big, lumbering creatures that it doesn't feel like it should be something that you're fighting.
Okay. He will go for the one that just emerged because I guess Winnie is handling the other one just fine on her own, and will go for the first attack. Oh, another natural one. Ooh, oh, what's happening? It's bad here.
Virgil.
10 doesn't hit, does it?
No, it doesn't. Go ahead and roll for your first attack.
Oh no.
Also, Ox was holding his action until Virgil went. So can I release that first action?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we're still in the same turn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm rolling so good. Okay.
What'd you get?
6 slashing and 5 ice.
Ox.
Oh no.
Virgil slashes at this moose creature that is between you. As he does so, it backs out of the way, and you feel pain slice across your right shoulder as Virgil hits you. I'll have you take half of that damage.
Oopsie. There's some blood.
There's
now.
some blood, yes.
Yeah.
Ox, what do you do?
Shoot, but God, and hit his right shoulder. He just shoots with his right hand.
That works.
So you aim for the one next to Winnie.
Yeah, 15 to hit, and he's gonna
15
fire
hits?
twice. Oh, that's a 9 to hit.
That does
the
not
second
hit.
time.
What is happening?
That's 9 points of damage.
Nice.
Ox is gonna go for it and dash toward the tree to climb up.
It is also, if it attacks him, it is also a new round for me, so I can sentinel this one again.
It
15.
lunges at you, but you're speedy. You get out of the way. 15 to hit?
Yes.
That hits.
As Ox scrambles away, Virgil will actually manage to hit what he's aiming for. 12 slashing damage and an additional 4 ice.
Nice. The moose next to Winnie gets back up, and as it does so, it rears back on its hind legs, and as it lands, it pulls her down by her skirt, its hoof just landing in it and yanking her down onto her knees, and then lunges to bite her again, and its teeth sink into her shoulder.
Oh.
Winnie lets out a loud scream that echoes through all of your ears as you see blood drip down her shoulder and onto the lovely patterned patches on her apron. And she just looks over at where its teeth met her shoulder with horror. This one lunges for you again, Kian, but it just goes right by you.
Right
They're
by
all
you.
rolling badly. Perhaps a little put off by the fact that you hexed it.
So I'm gonna give it another opportunity to attack as Kian also runs further away.
Excellent. It gets its revenge by giving you a little nibble, give you a taste of your own medicine. You take 13 points of damage as it rips away some of the fabric at your arm and some of the skin as well.
Horrible.
He exclaims a little bit in pain as he scrambles back, and he's going to hold out both palms and cast Eldritch Blast. Oh, fuck. That's a nat 1 for one of them, and an 18 for the other.
18 hits.
You want me to roll damage for both of them?
Yes. I would.
Okay, cool. That's 9 points. Fucking hell. And then the other one takes 6 points of force damage and 3 points of necrotic. The hexed one.
The hexed one. That moose, it just sinks to the ground and stops breathing. You don't really see this happen because you are temporarily blinded by a very bright, painful light in your eyes, and you nearly fall to your knees as you take 5 points of damage.
Oh.
Oh, a misfire.
That has never happened to you before.
Yeah.
It's okay, it happens to a lot of guys.
I'm gonna change my hex.
Winnie rips her apron out from underneath this moose and goes for it again. There's just like a frustrated yell. She just lunges at it with a scythe she has at her side as well. There's a unreal sort of sheen to it as she slashes down that leads you to believe that perhaps this might be an enchanted item. The wound is invisible at first underneath the fur as it trails down its neck, and then you see what looks to be some sort of dark blue ichor start to pour from it and hit the ground with the weight of oil. Virgil, it's your turn.
So there's 2 left. How do they look?
They both are moving more clumsily and almost blearily.
Okay, I will aim for the one in front of Winnie first. So the first one, he sweeps at a leg and it just rears back perhaps. And then as it comes back down, he'll slash it across the chest. 17 to hit. 13 slashing and 4 ice.
When you do ice frost damage, does the wound freeze?
Yeah, you would see the wound open up and then all at once it's like winter hits it and the
Okay.
blood freezes.
The blue blood of these creatures just coagulates at the wound, and it also falls to the ground.
Is it this one that you hit?
No, the one next to Winnie.
All right.
Yeah.
Ox, is your turn.
Ox is gonna take a shot at the only one left with his pistol. That's a misfire.
You okay?
Yeah.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
Are you scared of the big bad beast?
Yeah.
There's sitting like Marisha Ray, and there's sitting like whatever this is.
Oh
Sitting like Meg.
God!
Your ankle.
I think Ox goes to shoot and nothing happens. He goes to shoot his gun and he hits the trigger again and nothing happens still until finally something inside just kind of bursts a little bit in the chamber and he goes, shit! Hell, shit! And then drops the gun.
Oh. He will Eldritch Blast. Well, an unnatural 20, I'm sure, hit. So 12 points of force damage and 6 points of necrotic.
And you can already see the necrotic energy that you've hexed it with starting to creep up its legs and body. As you hit it with this Eldritch Blast, it's like it pushes it over and it crashes to the ground.
He'll just kind of call out from 30 or so feet that he is away. Is everyone okay? Do we need healing? Or do you see any more?
Yeah, Ox is gonna roll a perception check. 13.
You don't see any more faces in the brambles.
He'll pick up his gun and start fiddling with it as he walks closer toward Virgil and Winnie.
Winnie, you see, is standing next to the one that she just nerfed. And lying on the ground like this, their faces, because they're so large, are not actually that much shorter than her. She almost meets their eyes, and she's staring down at it with an expression of sneaking horror.
Kian is kind of hurt himself, and he will send Marigold over. I think not hearing anything, but he'll send a healing spell over to Winnie. You're right, you took quite a hit there.
That's... She sort of dismisses your words with her hand. I recognize her.
What do you
That's-
mean?
Well, she left a little while ago. After the wall came down.
I see.
So I think we just killed her, which is not really the best feeling. But maybe it was a little too late. Anyway, let's keep going. And she steps around the body and up to the wall of brambles.
He is taking this moment to also send healing over to Ox. And he'll do the same himself.
Virgil doesn't ask for it. He looks down at this creature and then just nods to it and will go to fetch Orna.
Winnie, upon hearing that you have to go back to the goats, seems to remember that, come back to herself a bit, and she also very gingerly makes her way around the bodies to follow you over to the goats. And Ox, you hear something, like a rustling, crackling sound, and turn around to see what it is, and you see something new coming out from the brambles. It's a little bit smaller. It looks like half human, half reptilian fanged creature on two legs. There's a faint sheen of sweat or slime or grime on its skin. You see some of the blue ichor around its lips and the teeth that jut out from its mouth. And it steps forward and then starts to move quicker. It's your turn.
Yeah, Ox is gonna sort of give a little yelp and drop his gun, pull out his crossbow, and make a shot. Oh my god, that's a natural one.
Oh, Jesus, why?
What's happening to us? You just shoot yourself in the foot.
You shoot your arrow, Ox, and it lands in front of this creature, looks at it for a second, and then back up to you. And its mouth moves, but you hear in your head, What are you doing? Those are mine. It just steps towards Ox.
Ox looks incredulously at this creature and sort of doesn't lower his crossbow, but pauses.
Kian, you see Ox just pause in the attack.
What are you doing? Shit. He doesn't look too happy about it after the realization that maybe these are more sentient than just regular beasts, but he'll send 2 Eldritch Blasts, and one of those is a nat 20, so. Ooh. And the other one is over 20, so I'm assuming
Yes.
it hits.
Yeah, those hit.
So, the first hit is 23 points of damage. The second hit is 8. Both force damage. He is looking in like fear and horror, but standing his ground and both hands out.
It lets out a terrible burbling scream as your Eldritch Blasts hit it. Winnie's gonna step forward. You see her do a similar movement with her wooden spoon. She traces shape in the air, slams it towards the ground again, and the sparks of magic do fizzle out from the hole she makes in the ground, and then they just die, and she's like, sorry! Stands back up. Virgil, it's your turn.
Yeah, he didn't hear it speak, so he would run up to it. Put me between it and Ox. I'm probably not even thinking at this point because we just got out of combat with these moves. He slices down at it. 19 to hit.
19 hits.
11 slashing and 1 ice.
It turns to you now as that scream continues. It starts to raise a hand against you.
Okay, he would slash again. 13 to hit.
It knows what to expect, it seems, and dodges with impressive dexterity out of the way.
He takes up a defensive stance between it and Ox.
Ox is going to restring his crossbow and make another shot.
Okay.
That's a 22 to hit, and that's a 12 damage.
Yeah, you fire it at the arrow, hits it in the shoulder. It barely seems to notice, but the arrow does not fall out. It sinks deep into its flesh. Paying no mind to the arrow, Virgil does 23 hit ya?
Yeah, that'd do it.
Yeah, it pulls like a rusted sword from the scabbard at its side and just slashes across. It'll just slash down your arm. You take 9 slashing damage.
It's Kian.
It's Kian's turn.
He will hold out both hands and his palms will glow again, and the first Eldritch Blast is... The first one misses, just goes zooming by, but the second one definitely hit 14 points of force damage.
Nice.
He kind of just stands back.
When he's gonna run over to Ox and traces a shape in the air again and then like slaps a hand to the quiver on your back. And she looks up at you with a sort of like semi-crazed grin and she says, "Fire arrows!" Just let you know, when your arrows hit, they will do an extra 1d6 fire damage.
Oh. Alright, he sort of reels back from the swing of their sword and then will counter with his own. Yeah, that's a 22 to hit, and the second one will not hit.
Okay.
8 slashing and 2 ice, and he will aim for their arm, I suppose, in turn.
Ox, it's your turn.
Ox is gonna fire his crossbow once
it.
more. Oh, that's 14 damage.
Did you add the 1d6 fire damage?
Yes, that's including the 1d6 fire damage.
So you pull the arrow from your quiver, and as you load up your crossbow, it doesn't look any different really from a normal arrow, except you think maybe you see, like, it looks like a fuse has been lit at the very end, and you can only see that just as you shoot it. And as it hits, there's a small eruption of flame, and Winnie beside you goes, "Yes!"
Yeah, Ox gives like an excited little whoop.
Does he give a yeehaw?
Not quite a yeehaw.
Oh! What does it take?
Virgil,
Yeah.
make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh no.
God damn it, he's not good at those.
That's a 4. Lucky number, that one.
I'm gonna say something, and then you can tell me if it's wrong.
Okay.
You hear a deep, rumbling, feral growl, and as you turn to see what it is, you see a huge lion staring at you with no thoughts behind its eyes but to kill. And you are afraid. And you must take the dash action and run away.
Yeah, he goes statue still, like frozen in horror.
It's going to step around Virgil and up to Ox. You just see Virgil freeze. His hands are trembling, and it looks like he's about to run. Kian.
He looks over in concern. Only one of those hits again. 1 Eldritch Blast. 15 points of force damage. But yeah, he's gonna take a bit more of his movement to go back. Do I need to use... Can I use my bonus action to make Marigold move?
I think you can direct her as a free action. If she's going to take an action, that would be a bonus from you.
He's having her stay in this tree kind of close to the rest of them in case he needs to cast any healing.
She runs forward to slash at this thing, but she's sort of stopped in her tracks by Virgil, who does not move out of the way as she approaches and sort of tries to veer around him and just misses when she swings her scythe. Virgil, you run away.
Yeah. Can I make a bonus action?
Yes.
As he is running, he would make like one last, like fearful look over his shoulder and just throw up a blood curse against the little lizard thing and try to bind it.
When I said it's smaller than a moose, I did not mean that it's little. Just to be clear.
Sure.
It is a little bit taller than Ox.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 6 feet.
Its height won't save it. I'm a curse it. Strength saving throw.
Okay.
And how does this guy look? Does he look fucked up?
Still okay.
Okay, I'm gonna amplify it.
Strength saving throw?
Yes.
7.
As he runs, he sort of flings a hand back behind him, and this thing freezes in much the same way you just saw Virgil.
It's frozen.
Yes, it can still make attacks, but it cannot move from where it is, and at the end of each of its turns, it can make another strength save.
Ox?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have Ox dash another 30 feet toward Virgil.
As you run, it slashes at you just with its hand, which you see ends with long claws, but it doesn't manage to get you. You dash too fast, cowboy.
It just grazes one of your little assless chaps.
Yeah. It gets a piece of fringe.
It's okay, you know how to make that now.
Please make a dexterity saving throw, Ox.
14.
As you run, Ox, you feel heat blossom around you and hear the crackling of fire, and you are basically propelled forward by the explosion of the spell as you take 15 points fire damage. The leaves around you, still burning, start to fall back to the ground. Does 17?
Yeah.
As it pulls its hand back from the spell it cast on you, it actually sort of overcorrects, I guess, as it breaks out unexpectedly of the blood curse and stumbles back a bit. Okay,
Shit.
Keenan.
Well, we're doing another turn of Eldritch Blasts, as is the Warlock way. One of those was a nat 20. 13 points of force damage.
You sound so disappointed with yourself, Kian. You're doing great.
I could have rolled better on the dice that I got
Winnie, sweetie. I think you can all tell that she seemed nervous before, but it seemed like the normal nerves one would have in this situation, they seem to be getting to her now, as you all have run away from this creature and she alone stands beside it. She looks up at it, afraid, but she does not step back and tries to slash at it again and just completely misses, like goes past its legs, and you hear another one of those burbling sounds come up from its throat that now implies laughter. Virgil, it's your turn. You have to run again.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Do I roll a save at the end of my turn or anything?
Yes.
Go find a little hiding spot, like find the nearest tree and duck behind it and sort of sink to the ground, shaking.
This
is another wisdom save. Please, dear God. Oh, God. I think I do. I use inspiration. Nope. Fuck.
You can't see it anymore, but you can still hear it. And you hear that laughter. And below it, you think you can still hear a distant growl growing closer.
Ox is going to fire with his crossbow, and I forgot he gets 2 attacks per action, so he's going to fire twice with the crossbow. That's a dirty 20 to hit the first one, and that's a 25 to hit on the next one.
This will hit.
11 damage, and 6 damage on the next.
For the first time, it seems like this creature is actually taking some significant pain from the hits that you're landing on it. It turns to you, the laughter just stops. And as you're watching it, Ox, it just passes a hand over one of the wounds that you created, and you see it close slightly. You all ran away. It's just Winnie there.
No.
Listen, like, I don't want to pick on the guest NPC.
She can run away too.
Let her run
She
away.
wouldn't run away. It whips around away from you, Ox, and starts to slash at the little halfling at its feet. And she manages to dodge the first time, the second time, and then the third time it just rips across her torso with its claws. You see blood blossom over her front.
Third time.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Winnie straightens back up, but she looks a little rough. Yeah.
Both hands still out. Winnie, run. And, okay, does a 17 hit?
No.
Okay, again, we're 50-50.
Okay.
One Eldritch Blast. 11
Points of damage?
points of force damage.
Nice. Winnie looks to you and takes just a little step back as you yell out, but she seems afraid to take her eyes off of this thing and doesn't make a motion to run.
We get Toku's NPC killed.
There we go. Winnie, she tries one more time with her Erupting Earth spell, ducks beneath the creature, jams the spoon in the ground, and again, a concentrated earthquake happens beneath the feet of the slot and further back, almost to you, Kian, but it stops before it reaches you. And it falls prone.
No wonder you were worried about killing us. It's a fucking slod.
Did I say that out loud?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know those guys.
It almost looks like it's like taken damage to the head or something. It like blinks absently up at the sky. Virgil.
I think he tries to like peek around the tree and to see if it's still there and if his companions are still there.
They are. It is.
Okay.
So, technically, if you see it, you're supposed to run.
You can make me run.
First, you see your companions, and you see the creature, and then you see the lion again, and you hear the lion again, and you turn without thinking, like an animal yourself, and run.
There's nothing I can do at that range. So
At this
may as
point,
well.
I'm gonna say there are enough trees that you are out of sight of it.
Where the fuck was that? Last turn. 19.
19. That's good. As you run, the sound fades. You just hear the sound of the woods around you, and it calms you, and you realize that what you saw can't possibly be real, right?
Right.
And you're no longer afraid. Ox.
2 crossbow attacks. That's a 26 to hit.
It's prone. This is a ranged attack.
Oh, disadvantage.
You have disadvantage. So the second one, roll again.
9.
Okay, yeah. Both miss. It's hard to hit this target over the still slightly churning earth. It hasn't quite settled yet. It's going to take its turn to stand up, and it's going to go after Winnie again. Thankfully, it rolls poorly once.
Twice?
3 times?
Not poorly enough.
She'll be okay.
It slashes again and again at Winnie, and she manages to dodge once, but basically dodges right into its next attack. And as it claws across her torso again, and then another across her face, she just falls to the ground.
Kian runs forward. I think he stops about 10 feet away on the other side of the creature, and he's gonna try to like call for its attention as he sends Marigold over, and he is going to use one of his healing pools. Come after me! And just like kind of scream run this way, you know? Yeah.
Look at me, I'm so enticing, come get me!
Roll for persuasion.
Persuasion?
Yeah.
Roll for looking like a snack.
I'm so sorry, I can't do math.
It's okay, you gay.
I rolled a 2, but that's 13.
And did Winnie heal?
Yeah, she's healed 4 points.
Nice. You see her eyelids sort of flutter. The slod turns towards you. So she stands up a little shakily, and you see her cast and just place a hand over her own heart as she heals herself and looks over to you, Kian. You're running away, so you probably aren't looking at her. Never mind.
He's not really running away, he was like kind of trying to run past.
Get me!
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And he is facing the creature at this point.
She looks at you from behind the creature and goes, "Thanks." Virgil.
Okay. He turns and just starts sprinting back to where he left. And as he runs, his form is silhouetted by like a silvery blue light, and he'll cast Expeditious Retreat. At the end of his turn, he'd be 30 feet away. That's his entire turn, but he's back, and he's pissed.
You hear the sound of footsteps, Ox, as Virgil runs up right behind you. It's your turn.
Once more, we're gonna go for crossbow. That's a 22 to hit and a 25 to hit. 8 and 7 damage.
How'd you kill this guy?
I think that first arrow that Ox shot into its shoulder, he's gonna aim there again to try to puncture more into that wound. He fires his 2 flaming arrows.
Fire one and it hits its mark, and then you fire the other one and it like splits the other arrow and hits the mark as well.
Excellent.
And you actually see the arrowhead through the other side. It staggers back and tries to take a step towards you and then falls to a knee, tries to move forward again, falls to another knee. Seems to almost collapse on itself and quickly decays into a sort of sludge on the ground. As it does so, all of you hear a woman's voice. "You're on the right track," Scar says. "Maybe we'll see each other soon."
Hello, Virgil speaking. I'd like to say a few words if you'll permit me your time. Thank you for listening to Spare the Crying. Your support means a lot to us. If you'd like to find me or my companions, you can reach us on social media at linktree/sparethecrying. We'd love to hear from you. Please feel welcome to leave a rating and review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube streams. We also have a Discord server where you can discuss the story so far with us, or speak with like-minded souls about your own TTRPG experiences. In regards to our soundtrack, our background music is by Marika Shans and our intro is by Ben McElroy. Our official art is by yours truly. You can find me at Croqueen on Twitter. That said, allow me to bid you farewell for now. Please join us next time as we shepherd in a new dawn.
Ox lowers his crossbow and looks very scornfully at the pile of sludge.
As you do so, you see something in it. A shape of something solid amongst the gore that you have created.
Ox approaches. Can he tell what it is?
It looks like it might be a bottle.
How gross is the sludge?
The sludge is pretty gross.
Ox looks down and he's gonna reach into the sludge and pull out this bottle shape.
It looks like a bottle of whiskey. It's not a label you recognize, but it seems like a nice enough bottle.
He grips the neck of the bottle and shakes off some of the sludge. He turns the bottle over in his hands. Is there anything inside?
You don't see anything.
Ox is gonna smash the bottle on the ground.
It smashes.
Yeah.
Make a strength check.
It just bounces.
Wait, actually make a strength check.
Shit. Well, fuck. 16.
Okay, it smashes.
Yeah. Ox looks pissed, and he's still shaking sludge off of his gloves, and
Is that a voice we should recognize?
maybe not you, but it was Scarlet.
So this thing, was that her?
I don't know how she took control of it, but this is her doing.
What, this or Enosh?
I don't know. She's just trying to play with us, I think.
Do you need healing? He looks over to Winnie.
She smiles up at you and nods.
I think Marigold flies down from the tree and casts Cure Wounds at level 3, 23 points.
Thank you.
As Ox gets closer, he'll shakily hold out a hand, and you'll hear a little whisper, and he'll kind of like clean the blood off your clothes. He'll do the same when Virgil gets closer. He'll do the same to Winifred, but he'll stay back.
So, your friend there was responsible for this?
I don't know. She's definitely involved.
I don't really think a friend.
I mean, I was saying it in sort of the way that people say friend with air quotes, you know, your friend. I was getting the idea that maybe this person wasn't really a friend from the whole everything.
Yeah, the whole attacking bit.
Yeah. And she sounded a little, you know, it was a nice voice, but not a nice voice, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you need healing?
Why don't we just settle for a bit? I think we could use a break.
Should get back to our animals and
Yes, we should.
he'll kind of take a nervous look back into the brambles behind them. I don't think there's anything else, but we thought that last time, so
It is the ocean. There is always something else. And Virgil just starts back to Orna. He is still glowing with that silver light, and his steps seem hurried as he goes.
cast Presto, but like,
Yes.
is anybody actively bleeding still, or did the healing?
Winnie, you healed up a lot.
Yeah.
So she's not bleeding anymore.
Ox is 29 out of 46 hit points, so I figure he's mostly done bleeding.
Probably bleeding. I think there would be some blood in this case. I
Just a
I don't
little.
think it's like Ox is in danger from blood loss, but I think Ox would probably be bleeding at this point.
Virgil is also
Yeah.
bloodied, but that's normal for him.
Well, Presto works. He's gonna try to basically make a sort of perfume in the air around him. Try to see if that helps, because I don't think I have enough healing to help
Yeah.
with anything else. Get a little bit closer to Ox if he stays in the back and just kind of see if it seems like maybe his magic is working to any effect.
I'll roll with advantage.
So
Yeah,
a straight
Ox.
roll.
Looks
So
tasty.
straight roll.
How much of a snack is Ox looking like?
Well, I mean, Kian's walking behind him, so
Yeah.
pretty good
You
one.
take one look at that peach-shaped ass.
He'll stay back. Also, I would say probably in that fight, his disguise self has fallen. He looks really rough. Some dark circles. Like he was doing some crying and kind of out of it. He lets himself get within 5 feet of Ox for a second, and you can kind of see him like freeze a little bit, and he slows back down and stays.
Ox notices because he looks back at the smashed bottle on the ground.
We walk back to our creatures in a weird line.
You go back to your creatures.
Kane will just like lean against a tree and just. So shall we rest here? Do we feel safe enough?
Safe as anywhere.
Good, because I would love a rest right now.
So would I.
Winnie nods. I mean, you helped me out a lot just now, so if you want, I can sort of scout the area, keep watch while you guys rest.
Marigolds can help too,
Okay.
but we should stay close. Don't go.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Right?
And remember, because of your snack this
Yes.
morning, you get an extra 1d8.
Ooh, I'm back at full.
Me too.
Winnie is as well.
At the end of the rest, Kian will look around to the group. Did I hear right earlier? For those people?
Winnie nods.
Did you know that? He looks over to Virgil.
Not so much in the sense that all of these creatures, things like them, were once people, but the ocean is a corrupting force. It would not surprise me if many of the things out here were once people.
I think we could have done something different.
No, we could not. And that is a foolish road to go down.
Right.
I know it is not a happy ending, but it is the best they could have gotten.
Should we be worried about us?
Such things take time.
Hasn't been that long since they left.
It will take more than a couple of days. It is extended exposure.
Okay.
Do you think someone would have done it on purpose to him?
I don't know that such a thing is possible. That would mean controlling the oceans themselves, and that... I cannot believe that is possible. That is horrifying.
Yeah?
You don't have to worry.
I just won't then. Great. Sorry, was that mean? That came out a little meaner than I meant it to come out. It was supposed to be kind of a joke, but not a joke at the same time.
I've travelled out here quite a bit with people that help to make it safe, but I think we can kind of recreate that a little bit.
Okay.
And we don't stay out here very long. Not longer than we need to.
Yeah. So should we keep going then?
Yes, while there is still daylight, can at least find some place easier to defend for the night.
She stands up.
Alright. Virgil mounts up on Orna and will reach a hand down to Ox.
Ox will take it and climb up.
Winnie looks back as you go for a final look at the bases on the ground. And do you just make your way around the brambles, or are you trying to cut a way through them?
No.
Around?
Yeah.
As we go, I'll mark this spot roughly on the map so we know to expect it when we come back this way.
Night falls. You find the best, safest kind of camping spot you can find
Yeah.
in the oceans and set up camp.
Then Virgil would start to light a fire, considering there is a bit of cover.
Winnie starts to prepare something to eat for you all.
Is it some quiet campfire vibes?
Yeah, Ox has been noticeably quiet.
Yeah.
Even for him.
Keen's been quiet since last night, so...
Wow, look at all of us. We're
Yeah.
all so quiet.
Okay.
We're really good at communicating, you guys.
Henry's not here.
Marigold is going to be taking watches all night.
Yeah. Virgil will volunteer to take first. He seems restless.
Winnie says, okay, and sleeps for the night.
Listen, she almost died. so-
Yeah,
She did, yes.
her rest.
That you can tell that's kind of her vibe.
Yeah.
She's like,
We got it.
I'm gonna take this night off. I think that's okay. It's okay. Great. And crawls into her bedrolls. Virgil, your first watch.
Yeah.
Roll a perception check
Natural 20.
for Marigold.
12.
It is so much easier to relax and to stay alert on your watches now that you can see through the night.
Right. That's new.
Uh-huh. Partway through your watch, do notice some movement in the woods, and as you peer closer, it looks to be some sort of four-legged creature, and you kind of squint and realize that it's probably a cow, a fluffy brown cow that you've seen around Enosh. It turns towards you, just turns its head towards you, and it looks like, from the light that glints off of its eyes, that it does not have the eyes of a cow, but maybe a person.
Okay.
It freezes for a moment, far enough away that you can't see it super clearly, and it pauses for a moment to look at you, and then trots away.
Yeah, he just watches it go, says a soft little prayer for whoever it was. Yeah, I think he just sits with his earring in his palm, fiddling with it as if to self-soothe for the rest of his watch, and then he'll wake Ox.
He likes to pace around on his watches, and he usually smokes a couple of cigarettes. That's a dirty twin.
You do see some movement ahead, but before you can actually see what they are, they turn away. Kian, you have a hard time seeing it. You're still a little weary, and your mind is elsewhere.
I think I'm a bit out of it. Do you mind sort of taking over?
Yeah, that's fine. You get some more rest.
He nods. I think he doesn't go back to sleep, but he'll cast a light spell, and I think he'll spend a little bit of time perusing the book that he got in the early hours of the morning.
You got erotica.
No, this is a historical tome, actually. I've said that he's a slow reader, and he's gonna cast his new can read things spell.
Comprehend languages.
Yeah.
Comprehend languages? Okay.
I cast literacy.
If he's dyslexic, does that help?
No.
I don't know.
Oh, does comprehend languages help with his dyslexia?
Yeah.
I thought you were asking if dyslexia helped him read better.
Distinctly
I
not.
know
I was
that.
like, it's kind of like its whole thing is that it makes it kind of hard. Yeah. Why not? Yeah.
In those 2 hours, do you get anything of note?
Is Kian focusing really hard on this book?
Yeah. He is looking for information, like the main traits of vampires, where they come from. If it mentions anything resembling like a Dampier, he is looking to see if there's anything that mentions a figure like Vivian.
I think you would get to this idea that the first vampire first appeared in record in Southeast Octarius.
He knows quite a bit, probably would go along with a lot of the things he knows, but he wants to know like what this book defines as vampires. He wants to know what are Dampier, if there are any like vampire figures of note.
Okay. So your first question is, what are vampires?
Yeah.
Hey Siri.
I don't think there is a dictionary definition of vampires in this book. It seems the assumption of the author is that whoever is reading it knows something about vampires already. You learn that the theory is that they're not quite undead, they're not the same as reanimated bodies because they basically maintain their soul through removing pieces of the souls of others. And this is also why they're able to live forever. They are considered cursed, just a curse that's so powerful that it becomes appealing to people sometimes. And you can pull traits from other people with their abilities if you're powerful enough. You do not find anything about Dampier in the book. There is mention of victims who die from vampire attacks and victims who become vampires from vampire attacks. You don't see anything in between. Not by name, but you do find mentions of theories that the first vampire lives in Southeast Octarius with a large and protective coven. It is theorized as growing, and most people who go after it do not come back. Virgil, roll a wisdom check.
18.
Kian, as you're finishing reading, and you pull your nose up from this book, you realize there is another source of light around your campsite that's not your light spell that you cast for reading, and it's not the fire. And you look over, and the earring that Virgil always wears is glowing fairly brightly.
Ox, are you seeing that?
Ox stops mid-pace with a cigarette in his mouth to look back. He looks curiously at it. Yeah, I've seen it do that before. Maybe not quite this bright, though.
Does Virgil look like troubled in his sleep or anything?
Probably.
Let's keep going. Roll another wisdom check.
6.
He's looking a little troubled.
You look and you see that he is shaking, shivering as if from cold, under his cloak. And he's curled tightly against Orna, but it doesn't seem it's doing much.
Yeah, Kian goes over him lightly, gently, just shakes his shoulder. Virgil?
I think he comes to rather suddenly and sits up fast and corrects himself when he sees Kian right there. What is the matter?
It's okay,
Okay.
Feels like there's a light shining in your eyes from the side.
Okay, is that you? Could you turn it down a bit?
no, that's actually, that's you? Or your earring?
Beg pardon. He, reaches up to try and shield it. And seems to realize at once what you said, and will take it off to look at it.
It's glowing. A bright light.
Okay. That's unusual. He'll sit, leaned against Orna with it cradled carefully in his palm, and just stare into it. Hello? This feels foolish, but can you hear me?
I'm gonna have you make one more wisdom saving or check.
8.
Nothing happens.
Okay. You know what? He reaches into his pocket and pulls out the pearl and will just sit with it quiet and completely lose any attention that Ox or Kian might have had. And he just sits and starts to murmur quietly. And I'm gonna try identify.
Kian's just crouching.
Yeah, Ox is watching curiously.
It's like you can feel 2 layers on this item that you've cast on. The deeper layer you've tried to conquer before and ended up being faced with a wall. The first layer, this new layer, is like a thin layer of ice, easy to crack. There's a light spell on it.
Okay. Almost blindly, without thinking, he'll reach out towards his pack lying there and will try to cast a light spell. He doesn't know what he's doing, but he's just sort of making the motion. He's seen Kian do it before and he copies it.
It starts to glow.
I think you see him just sort of smile, but it looks sad, and he'll put the earring back on.
Did you find anything out?
Well, nothing concrete, but if I'm right, I think he's sharing.
What do you mean?
I mean that I think this, and he points at his bag. This, I think, is something he could do. And I shouldn't be able to see it right now. I'm only human. I mean, just that, I think he is sharing.
Ian kind of nods, but he looks confused.
Yeah, Virgil, it's not confusion per se, it's like astonishment. He doesn't have the words to describe this, but Kian asked, and so he tried.
Sorry for waking you. I thought you'd probably...
No, don't apologize. Thank you for waking me.
Of course.
So he just sits there quietly, staring at the light of this new spell that he can produce for minutes, hours.
Doesn't last for hours. Maybe 15 minutes later, the light on the earring starts to fade and vanishes within 3 seconds. And then the glowing backpack that you've created, it glows on for an hour or so before it blinks out. By that time, the sun has already just barely started to rise.
As dawn is approaching, he just sort of turns his face against Orna's fur and whispers into it. I don't know if you are doing this on purpose. If you even have the presence of mind. But it is very sweet. And if there is anything I can share with you, anything you would find useful, it is yours.
Orna sighs.
He'll just quietly weave little braids into her fur until it is morning.
It is morning.
Have those creatures come any closer?
No.
As the morning goes on and Virgil seems to be maybe paying attention to his surroundings a little more, Ox will mention, last night I kept seeing something on the edge of my vision about 70 yards away, kind of creeping along the edge.
I saw something similar. It was only one creature. It looked like a cow, but there was something about it.
Well, I think it's best to pack up and get going as early as we can.
Yeah, we lost a bit of time yesterday, right? So we wouldn't have reached whatever Male saw yet.
Not yet. You probably have to travel at least the rest of this day.
Okay.
You have a quick breakfast of day-old pastries that Winnie apologizes that they are not freshly made, but she's wrapped them up as best she could, and then you head off. Today is a little sunnier than it's been in a while around Enosh, which makes the travel a bit easier and makes sighting creatures in the oceans a little bit easier. And you are shocked to find that nothing seems to be approaching you, which could imply that the winter, whatever it was that was affecting the plants and trees further back, that has slowly faded out again, could be keeping other living things away, especially if it's spreading, or it could just be a quiet area of the oceans.
I think at some point, as they're riding, Kian will kind of ride his deer close to Orna and look up at Ox. So, we heard your sister yesterday. Do you know anything more about what she's planning that you haven't been telling us?
Ox shifts in his seat behind Virgil. Well, there's not much I know about her these days. Last I heard, she was traveling alone. Last I knew of anybody seeing her was Henry.
And that was how long ago again?
Ox kind of looks up and starts to count on his fingers a little. Well, 4, 5 months now.
I know you mentioned something a long while ago about her seeming a little bit different than she was before. What way?
She's different, but nah, it's odd. It's like she's gotten more sour over the years. There's no light in her eyes anymore. Doesn't sound the same when she plays her fiddle.
When did you start noticing this for the first time?
Maybe 9, 10 years ago.
And has it been gradual, or have there been moments where it seems it has jumped suddenly in escalation?
Ox nervously fidgets a bit. I think there were times when it was escalated, but it's been pretty gradual.
Kian looks over towards Winnie. What's she doing?
Winnie is staring down at her hands on Clementine's fur and has her head tilted slightly to lend a listening ear towards whatever it is you're discussing.
I think Kian will kind of sideways glance and then, I've heard stories about some things out there in the oceans. Maybe it's a little bit silly if I ask this now, and he kind of looks nervously to both of them, but I feel like I should ask it anyway. Has she been, I don't know, have you seen her in the sunlight or anything like that?
You have seen her in the sunlight.
Has anything been noticeably different with her in the sunlight?
You sent me a drawing of Scar's outfit. Can you describe it? Do you remember?
Yeah, I mean, Scar usually wears like a western blouse with a long skirt that comes about like to the top of her boots with some fringe at the bottom of the skirt. Cowboy boots, some gloves, and most notably is a large black hat with a veil. Well, I guess I haven't seen her without her hat in a while. It's got a veil on it.
Not that I know that much, but sounds a bit like a curse, don't you think?
Ox nods his head. Yeah, sorta does.
Yeah, Dad?
Winnie straightens up. Are you talking about vampires?
That was my guess. Just based on the little that I know about them.
Your sister's a vampire?
Ox shrugs from atop Orna. I don't know. Maybe.
Well,
Kian rolled a 13. That's maybe the best insight that he's ever rolled.
she seems impressed, almost, like with Ox.
Do you think there's anything else that could be evidence towards that?
Does she drink blood?
Well, I've never seen that.
Elves age pretty slowly, right?
Mhm.
Does she look the same as she did when you started noticing her acting different?
More and more of her cruelty showed on her features, but there's no dramatic overnight change to her appearance.
I mean, I suppose she looks similar enough to back when we were teenagers, but she usually tends to wear a lot of makeup. Doesn't really like the freckles. I guess I haven't really seen her true face in a while.
Kian just nods.
I just think if we are to err on the side of caution, we should assume in hunting her that she's not alone.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say. We knew a few people in somewhere. Didn't have a lot of friends, but it's possible she might be traveling with some of them. I don't know.
And if your theory is correct, Kian,
They're
well,
vampire hunters.
no, we're not.
Well, it sounds like you're hunting a vampire.
Kian just shakes his head.
It's not, I mean, I think it's pretty cool to be a vampire hunter. I don't know why you look so against it.
It is only that is not confirmed, but it is something to be prepared for.
Just kind of thought about that last night.
Ox nods. I think it's a good thought to consider.
If you push on, you could probably get there that night. You would arrive in darkness, but you do all have dark vision.
I think we should push on.
I agree.
Okay, you guys book it. Following the map. You have to stop a few times to navigate, make sure you're going the right way. By what you could estimate is maybe 10 or 11 p.m., the woods open up, and again, unlike what you would typically find in an island, what you would typically find from a border wall, the weight of the oceans gradually lessens as the trees thin out, and lessens more and more until you can breathe easily, and you're at the edge of a large black lake. You stop at the shore. There's a gravelly beach that you stand at the edge of, and about 20 or 30 feet away, the water starts. And it's very quiet here. It's a mix of bright rocks that look silvery white underneath the starry sky, and very dark black ones as well.
Do you think there is a guardian here?
Kian walks up to the shore, dips a finger in the water.
As you look in the water, you notice something odd about your reflection. Your eyes, it looks like you're activating a spell. You have 3 golden pupils. And there's also an aura about you, a glow. And it's a sort of red-tinged, dark anti-light. That reminds you of maybe Lachlan's eyes, or maybe the North Star that you saw in the Feywilds. You touch the water surface. It's cold. Ripples from your fingers spread over very far over the lake.
What's wrong? I don't know, there's just something a bit weird about my reflection.
I think Virgil dismounts and joins Kian by the shore.
You look great, kid.
Thanks, Winnie. And he'll take a peek.
Ox will follow suit.
Virgil, you peek into the water, as you say, and it's sort of, you kind of see 2 images at once. You see Rowan looking back at you, as you last remember him. And then that's gone, and you're not sure if it was ever there. and you just see yourself. There's a faint sunlit glow around you.
And when I look at Kian's reflection,
You see what I just described.
And Kian sees.
what about you, gay boy?
Ox peers into the
You go
lake.
look. You think you see Scar, and then you see nothing. No reflection.
That's unnerving.
Winnie runs up.
Kian steps back.
What's going on? She looks. What's going on? She looks in. Her reflection looks like herself. She meets Virgil's eyes in his reflection and does not meet Ox's in his lack of reflection. Then looks back to you both. Does that usually happen to you guys?
I've never seen this before.
Cool.
Is it? Ox, what? Do you know why this might be happening?
Ox looks curiously at the water, and he'll reach down for a pebble from the beach and toss it in.
Lands. The lake ripples.
Ox will back away from the lake. I never seen anything like this before.
Kian from further away. Ox, do you see your reflection anymore since the whole situation, the mirror?
I think I've looked since then, but not as much anymore.
Alright. I don't have an idea for what this could be.
Do you think we're safe here?
I think so. It feels safe, don't you think?
Are there any reflections of the stars?
I'm gonna have you make a perception check.
10.
It does reflect the stars.
Does it reflect the stars visible in the sky?
It's difficult to pinpoint, so you can't say with confidence.
He'll take another step back, but Marigold will fly forward. And how big is the lake?
You can barely see the other side.
He will have her fly towards the middle of the lake and he'll go into her vision. And I think, as he's flying through her, kind of, 10 feet above the water, look down. What does he see?
It looks a little bit like a shooting star.
He'll keep flying. How clear is this water? Can you see the bottom of it?
It looks black. You can't tell if that's because the bottom is black or because it's deep.
Like obsidian, almost? Or does it
You
look...
can make that
Yeah.
comparison.
And he'll fly up higher. Like, what is the shape?
It's round.
And he'll just have her fly across the lake and then do like a half perimeter, just kind of see the whole area.
It looks much the same around the entire perimeter of the lake.
Doesn't see anybody or any figures.
No.
Virgil crouches by the edge of the water and just sort of floats a hand just above the surface. If there is anyone here, if this is someone's home or someone's land, we are only passing through, if that is all right. And we hope to bring others here for safety. If there is anything you would like in return, we can offer what we have. If not, thank you.
You don't really feel anything as you reach your hand over. You don't hear anything either.
Okay. All right. Well, it is late. Pace is maybe 20 feet away from the shore, and we'll start to set up a campsite.
As you're doing this, you see along the edge of the shore where it turns to grass and dirt what look like little black mushroom caps just growing in a ring around it. You see that it stretches in both directions around the shore. They look a lot like what you saw in the Feywilds.
Mm-hmm. He does not disturb them.
Winnie seems a little on edge as you all set up quietly, I assume, and you spend the night here.
Yeah. Whatever watch Virgil takes out, he will spend part of it sitting and holding his earring and trying to kindle whatever connection is there.
Is this like your meditation?
He sits as if he's in meditation,
Yeah.
but he's not trying to find that light
Mm-hmm.
that he was before. He's just trying to find whatever tether is there and strengthen it or offer something in return to it. Can I roll? Good. 11. This is homophobic.
Nothing appears to happen, good nor bad.
I think that he will try this every night. Just sit for 30 minutes, an hour. Just quietly sit with it.
Maybe Virgil takes the first watch, the rest of you go to sleep. It's much easier to rest here where there's no weight of curses and blights and monsters on your mind. And Kian, you go to sleep and reach out to Aelin.
He has been talking to Aelin, but this is the first time he's talked to them since he encountered Lachlan. And he calls out to them in the dreamscape and waits and sits.
They appear immediately. You can't really look at them though. They're very bright.
Nikki puts a hand up, covering his eyes slightly. What's going on?
You asked me to be here, didn't you?
Does this have to do with where we are right now?
Does what have to do with that?
Why you're so bright?
Oh, thank you.
He kind of smiles, but he's still like holding his hand up.
I don't know, I'm having a bit of a hard time because I know you don't like it when I'm some things and you have been, maybe that's why.
He kind of sighs. I'd rather talk to you face to face if you want to look like me right now.
Immediately they dim and you see yourself in front of you, a little blonder.
Kind of looks down. Sorry, I just wanted to talk to you. I don't really know if I have anything specific to say, but I need a friend right now.
No, you don't. You have one.
I know.
They take a few steps forward and reach out for your hand.
He takes it, squeezes it tightly.
They're smiling back at you, but there's plenty of sadness to it. Do you want to talk about it? Or is this a quiet sort of thing?
He saved me, you know. I don't think I'd be here right now.
They nod.
And he's gonna do something stupid. But I can't really be there for him anymore, because he doesn't want me to. I think he just pulls them in, hugs them. Tears are streaming down his face.
They hug Kian back very tightly and are sort of murmuring quietly in his ear. You know, it's all right. You'll be all right. And if something happens to you again, I'll figure it out.
I don't need you to care for him or anything, but I'm having a rough time right now. I don't think that I can stop caring.
You're a caring person. That's what you do.
He has a little cry, and he hugs Aelin, and then he kind of brushes himself off and tells them about where they are and unique place that they've found.
They also seem very intrigued and puzzled.
You can tell that he feels a little bit better just having had that moment. Spends the rest of the night hanging out.
Virgil, your watch goes by without any issue. Ox, as you're lying in bed trying to sleep, you do recall something that didn't stand out to you at the time, or maybe you just didn't hear anything. You have looked for your reflection once before and didn't see it. Do you remember? You were very preoccupied at the moment. You were in danger. You were looking for hidden things around you. You weren't searching for yourself as you turned the mirror around that you received from the Vernal Queen in the Feywilds and faced it towards you and behind you to find whatever may be hidden there. You should have seen yourself reflected in that mirror, but you just saw the trees and the machines beyond. But you've seen your reflection before, you're certain. In the metal of your gun. In other rivers and lakes you've passed by in your travels. You've seen it. And that's where we'll end our session for tonight.
I thought so. About the mirror thing. I remembered that being a thing.
Ox wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
Ox was concerned about Kian and Henry.
It's fair.
Her eye was on the sparrow. Her mind was on the deck. But no one cared and no one dared to speak to her of God. Her eyes are always hooded. Her claws are sharp as steel. We teach her not to see too much. Teach her